It's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Imagine a world where kindness doesn't always triumph. Think about this. What if everything you believed about power was wrong? Today, we're diving deep into the philosophy of Niccolò Machiavelli, a name that echoes through centuries, carrying a reputation as dark as it is fascinating. Machiavelli, the enigmatic thinker of the Italian Renaissance, left us a legacy that continues to shape modern politics. His masterpiece, The Prince, isn't just a book. It's a survival manual for those who dare to navigate the turbulent waters of power. Why should we listen to a man who lived 500 years ago? The answer is disturbing. The world Machiavelli described isn't that different from ours. Human nature, with all its complexities, remains unchanged. Many view Machiavelli's political philosophy as an invitation to evil. But is it really? Or was he offering us a raw view of reality, a mirror reflecting our own ambitions? Today, we're unraveling the secrets of Machiavelli's art of power. We'll explore why, in his view, nice guys don't survive in the ruthless game of politics. And more importantly, we'll discover how good people can navigate this world without losing their essence. But before we continue, let me ask you, have you ever felt frustrated seeing less ethical people prosper? If so, this video might change your perspective in ways you never imagined. Machiavelli's theory of power is as controversial as it is revealing. He argues that to maintain power, a leader must be willing to act in ways many would consider immoral. But why? What led Machiavelli to this dark conclusion? To understand, let's go back to the Italian Renaissance, a time of beauty and brutality. Machiavelli didn't create this world. He merely observed it with ruthlessly honest eyes, and what he saw led him to a shocking conclusion. Virtue alone is not enough to govern. But before we dismiss Machiavelli as a heartless cynic, consider this. What if his intention was to prepare us for reality, not corrupt us? What if The Prince was a warning, not a manual? Machiavelli's dark philosophy confronts us with uncomfortable truths. He tells us that sometimes fear is more reliable than love, that the appearance of virtue can be more important than virtue itself, that fortune favors the bold, not necessarily the good. These ideas might seem repugnant at first, but think about it. How many times in history have we seen benevolent leaders fall, replaced by ruthless tyrants? How many times has good succumbed to evil simply because good wasn't prepared to fight? Now, brace yourself. The next point we're going to discuss might completely change your view on leadership and power. Machiavelli's influence on modern politics is undeniable. His ideas echo in the corridors of power around the world. Machiavellianism has become synonymous with political astuteness, a pragmatic and often ruthless approach to power. But what does this mean for good people, for those who want to lead with integrity? Machiavelli offers us a challenge. How can we be effective in an often cruel world without becoming cruel ourselves? The answer might lie in a deeper understanding of human nature. Machiavelli doesn't ask us to abandon our morality, but to understand that not everyone shares our values. He challenges us to be realistic without being cynical, to be strong without being tyrannical. Consider Machiavelli's advice on fear and love in his philosophy. He argues it's better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. But why? Because in his view, fear is more reliable. Love is volatile, subject to the whims of human nature. Fear, on the other hand, is constant. But this doesn't mean we should rule by terror. Machiavelli makes a crucial distinction. Fear shouldn't turn into hatred. A feared but not hated leader can be effective. A hated leader is doomed. Now pause for a moment and reflect. Have you ever been in a leadership position where you had to choose between being loved or respected? How did this choice affect your effectiveness as a leader? What about virtue? Machiavelli doesn't discard its importance, but he warns us about the dangers of being excessively virtuous in a world that doesn't always reward goodness. He suggests that a leader must know when to appear virtuous and when to act otherwise for the greater good. This might sound cynical, but think about it. How many times in history have we seen well-intentioned leaders fail because they weren't willing to do what was necessary? How many times has good lost to evil simply because good wasn't prepared to fight with the same ferocity? Machiavelli's theory of power challenges us to think beyond simplistic notions of good and evil. It shows us a world of nuances, where decisions are rarely black and white. A world where goodness to triumph must be tempered with pragmatism. But how can we apply these lessons without losing our integrity? How can we be Machiavellian princes without becoming villains? The answer might surprise you, and it's exactly what we'll discuss next. Get ready for a perspective that might fundamentally change your approach to leadership and power. The answer might lie in a deeper understanding of the purpose behind power. Machiavelli didn't advocate power for power's sake. He saw power as a tool to achieve stability, prosperity, and ultimately the common good. Think about this. What if we used Machiavelli's pragmatism not to oppress, but to protect? What if we learned to be cunning not to manipulate, but to defend those who can't defend themselves? Machiavelli's political philosophy, when viewed in this light, becomes less a justification for tyranny and more a guide for effective leadership in an imperfect world. It teaches us that sometimes, to do good, we need to be willing to get our hands dirty. But this doesn't mean abandoning our morals. On the contrary, it means understanding that morality in action is often more complex than morality in theory. It means recognizing that the world doesn't always reward pure virtue, and that to do good sometimes we need to be smart, resilient, and yes, even a little Machiavellian. Machiavelli's book, The Prince, isn't an invitation to tyranny, but a mirror reflecting the harsh realities of power. It shows us a world where naive goodness is often crushed, where nice guys rarely make it to the top. But this doesn't mean we should give up on being good. It means we should be good and smart. Now imagine a leader who understands Machiavelli's lessons but uses them for good. A leader who knows when to be feared and when to be loved. Who understands the importance of appearance but not at the expense of substance. Who is pragmatic enough to survive but idealistic enough to make a difference. This is the challenge Machiavelli presents us. It's not easy, but it's worth accepting. Because in the end, true power isn't about dominating others, but about creating a better world. The influence of Machiavelli on modern politics is undeniable. His ideas continue to shape how we think about power, leadership, and governance. But perhaps his most important lesson is this: the world is as it is, not as we wish it to be. And to change it, we must first understand it. So, the next time you face a difficult situation, a choice between the ideal and the practical, remember Machiavelli. Not to abandon your morals, but to understand that sometimes to do good we need to be smart. That sometimes to change the world, we first need to learn how to navigate it. The art of power, as Machiavelli teaches us, isn't about domination. It's about effectiveness. It's about doing what's necessary, not necessarily what's pleasant. It's about understanding human nature in all its complexity and imperfection. And perhaps, if more leaders understood this, if more good people were willing to learn Machiavelli's lessons without losing their integrity, we might see a world where power serves the common good, not just the interests of a few. So what do you think? Are you ready to dive into the depths of Machiavelli's philosophy, to learn the art of power without losing your soul, to be a modern, wise, and just prince? Remember, knowledge is power, and with great power comes great responsibility. Use Machiavelli's lessons wisely, and who knows, you might just be the change the world needs. The journey through Machiavelli's world is challenging, but rewarding. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about power, politics, and human nature. But it also gives us tools to navigate this complex world. Think about how you can apply these lessons in your own life. How can you be more effective in your goals without compromising your values? How can you be strong without being cruel, cunning without being dishonest? Machiavelli's philosophy, as dark as it may seem, offers us a unique opportunity for growth. It challenges us to be better, stronger, wiser. It teaches us that goodness, to be truly effective, must be tempered with realism and pragmatism. And perhaps this is the true art of power, the ability to do good in a world that doesn't always reward goodness. To use Machiavelli's knowledge not to oppress but to liberate, to be a leader who is feared and loved, respected and admired. So the next time you face an ethical dilemma, a difficult choice, Remember the lessons from the prince, not to blindly follow its advice, but to understand the world as it is and work to make it better. Because in the end, true power isn't about dominating others, but inspiring them. It's not about controlling, but leading. It's not about being feared, but being respected. And who knows, maybe by better understanding the nature of power, we can use it to create a world where goodness doesn't just survive, but thrives. A world where nice guys don't just finish last, but change the rules of the game for the better. This is the challenge Machiavelli leaves us. And it's a challenge worth accepting, because in the end, the true art of power isn't about governing others, but governing ourselves. About being strong enough to do what's right even when it's hard. So what do you think? Are you ready to accept this challenge? To learn the art of power and use it for good? To be a leader who doesn't just survive, but truly makes a difference? The choice is yours. And remember, power is a tool. What matters is how you use it. If this video brought valuable insights to you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Together, we can explore these ideas more deeply and continue our journey of growth and understanding. Until next time.